Have you ever heard of the most dangerous object on our planet? This object has the ability to be so lethal that you can't even get close to it from a few feet away. But why is that? What is this object? Could it be some kind of weapon, some projectile or something like that? In case you don't know, there are many unknown and highly dangerous things on our planet, but nothing compares or comes close to this. This object is known as an elephant's foot, and if you still have no idea what that means, stick with us until the end of this video and we will explain in a detailed way what this elephant's foot is, how it came to be, where it's located, and why it's so dangerous. Look at this incredible story I'm about to tell you. Unfortunately, it's a tragedy that was forever etched in our history. It all started on the night of April 26, 1986. A horrific accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, which was located in the city of Pripyat in the former Soviet Union and now belongs to Ukraine. Just a reminder, the accident happened during a safety test, simulating a power outage at the station when the emergency safety and power regulation systems were purposely turned off. An array of unexpected failures began to occur in the reactor design, leading to uncontrolled reaction conditions. During a reactor test, the plant's reactor 4 exploded, resulting in a large, dense cloud of radioactive elements that scattered across the air for thousands of kilometers. The cloud was so high, dense, and long-lasting that it could be seen from other countries. Pay attention to this absurd part. The horrific fire lasted approximately 10 days, and while it was not contained in its worst form, the fire caused radiation to spread more intensely and swiftly across a large part of the Soviet Union and Western Europe. At that time, the Soviet Union recorded a death toll of only 43 people. A great absurdity, since we know that it is estimated that thousands of people died either during the accident, a few days, or even years later due to radiation contamination, not to mention many pregnant women who survived but gave birth to deformed children. But what does the world's most dangerous object have to do with the Chernobyl accident? Don't worry, I'll tell you. But first, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Why is that? This nuclear explosion after a few days resulted in a mass of corium, which is essentially a lava made up of water, sand, and uranium oxide that solidified into an unusual shape resembling an elephant's foot. We get the name, but why is the object the most dangerous in the world? The elephant's foot is a mix of fuel, radioactive materials from the building that exploded, among other things. Comprised mostly of highly radioactive silicon dioxide and uranium. It was discovered 8 months after the incident in the underground rooms below where the accident occurred, and along with its discovery, the scientists had another unfortunate surprise. The giant mass of pure radioactivity also has another nickname, Medusa, because just like the mythological figure, merely looking at it could cause death. But how so? You really can't look at it? I'll explain it here in the video. Radiation levels can be measured using a device called a Geiger counter. Measured in RGs, and just for your understanding, 15 RGs is a normal radiation level that doesn't affect humans. Levels over 100 to 500 RGs are already fatal, causing diseases, or depending on the level, it can kill in a few days. An extreme case of 1000 RGs would result in a person dying within just 3 minutes of contact, as it would destroy a person's entire nervous system. Now that we understand a little about how radiation levels work, we can go back to discussing the dreaded elephant's foot. What makes it so dangerous is the fact that it has a radiation level of 10,000 RGs. Just think about it, 10,000 RGs. Can you imagine or have a sense of the level of danger this thing emanates? It's terrifying. In other words, someone standing many meters away can be contaminated and die within minutes. Scientists who went back to the site sometime after the accident detected this strange and very high level of radiation from miles away. Even with protective equipment, the team was exposed to contamination and got sick and died. But then, you might be wondering, how did they take that picture? This photo, in fact, was taken by a team that visited the site 10 years after the accident and only entered the site because they detected the radiation levels coming from the elephant's foot had dropped considerably. But still, to this day, it is highly dangerous and deadly radioactive. So much so that researcher Arthur Kornaev and his team, who were exposed to radiation, were contaminated and lived a few more years experiencing serious health problems and severe physical and mental after effects. Over the years, a gigantic structure was built around the area of the accident, known to this day as exclusion area, totally forbidden to approach because even with the protective structure, it still emits radiation. This protective shield was hastily constructed a year after the event. Unfortunately, many construction workers were contaminated. Some got sick, others died, which was inevitable working so close to so much radiation, right? But here's something interesting for you. Since the structure they built was constructed quickly, everyone knew that it would only last a few years until there would be reasons for having to repair it, as the radiation was corroding the materials of the protective barrier and it began to be exposed to the outside again at high levels. Recently, after much study and preparation, a new protective structure was designed and created in 2017 to place on top of the old one. Since the first workers were contaminated, they developed ways to try to prevent that from happening again. Suits were developed to contain higher levels of radiation as well as a large protective barrier to separate workers from the exclusion area. But the most incredible thing is how this structure was created. The construction of the new sarcophagus was created with metal and concrete and built kilometers away. But what do you mean, kilometers away from the place? Exactly. The current technology allows the creation of a gigantic movable structure. Once completed, weighing thousands of tons, the structure was slowly moved until it fit over the old protective barrier, which no longer served its purpose. It took weeks to move a few centimeters, but they finally managed to finish and fit the new protective structure. And does that mean we're safe again? Unfortunately, not completely. It was estimated that inside the protective barrier that covers the most dangerous area of Chernobyl, the radiation levels that had been contained for years increased there in an unimaginable way, being measured at 200 tons of radioactive corium, 30 tons of highly contaminated dust, and 16 tons of uranium and plutonium. It was deemed impossible to repair the interior of the sarcophagus if necessary, where the radiation levels were estimated to be over 10,000 RGs per hour. Now think with me, if the elephant's foot in all its form had radiation levels measured at 10,000 Röntgens and is already considered the most dangerous object in the world, what was created there inside with the containment of radiation that generates the same level per hour? It's unimaginable the extent of the danger inside this structure. What's worse, scientists fear that with the passing of years, the structure might not withstand such radiation pressure and could explode, causing a catastrophe even greater than the first. We hope that with studies and technologies as advanced as we have, they can find a solution to avoid bigger problems. And you, did you know about the elephant's foot? Would you dare to visit Chernobyl?